This is a Hornby Flying Scotsman in its Wartime black livery. The main issue is this plug. Somebody's tried to solder this in situ. That should now connect up to the tender. Doesn't seem to want to go in. This is really annoying because this just shouldn't happen. Yes. Hi again folks, how you all doing? Welcome to part 3 of getting this Hornby Flying Scotsman in Wartime black livery back together and running for Paul. So in the last video on this, I was having a lot of trouble plugging the wiring harness into the tender. I managed it eventually, but after I stopped filming, I tried fitting it again and I had the same trouble. And I spent ages fiddling about with it, but it simply wouldn't plug back in. So in the end, I've ordered another wiring harness and tried that. Now, off camera, I've replaced it. This is the old one here that was giving me all the trouble. The trouble seems to be that the tiny wee terminals inside the plug are very loose and don't all line up with the pins in the tender socket. You know, they're wiggling about and trying to get them all to line up with the pins in the tender socket. It's just not working. Not easily anyway. The replacement that I fitted here seems to be okay, but still a wee bit of a fiddle. I found if you bend all the wires forwards when fitting it, it seems to go in okay. But you know, it shouldn't be like this. This is just poor quality from Hornby, to be honest. Anyway, it's fitted now and I've tidied the wires up and taped them up. Another wee thing I've done off camera is repair the brass thread for the body fixing screw. I've basically just set it into some metal epoxy. So hopefully that'll hold. Should be pretty secure. So all I've really got to do now is have a look at the axles, maybe give them a clean out, clean the pickups up a wee bit, make sure it's got some fresh lubrication, defluff it, and we'll fit the bits and bobs that are in here, and it should be good to go, fingers crossed. I looked at the gears in the last video, so that's all fine. So let's just open this up and see what we're dealing with. Yeah, that drive gear is very dry. Oh, I've done a silly thing. I've taped up all the wires, so I've got no slack to get this underplate out. Totally forgot about that. And I can see an issue with the inside of this wheel. The thread for the crank pin is sticking out on the inside. I need to fix that. So I'm going to have to get... oh, yeah, gee whiz. Right. Let's peel that tape back. I just wasn't thinking there about getting this off, hopefully. Come on. There, come on, that should do it. Oh, the wire's connected to the pickup. That's what's going on. Right, okay. Blimey. There's plenty of slack in the wires, they're just not pulling through for some reason. So instead of just relying on pressure contact with these pickups, they've actually soldered the wires to the pickups through holes in the underframe, which, you know, is better in terms of, you know, maintains a better connection, but it makes taking the thing apart really difficult. I need to get a look at this wheel because actually I'm going to take this wheel right out. So the thread for the crank pin is basically a threaded shaft that goes right through the wheel, and you can see on the inside of the wheel here it's sticking out. It's come out of position. It should be like that one. I've shown you this before in a previous video on another locomotive, but it is something to watch for, because if that happens, that can get caught on the pickups or on the chassis of the model, and you can get, you know, the running can be impeded. So we need to turn this to get it into position and then push it back in place. Like so. There we are. It's now sitting flush with the wheel. Where's my Mankey brush? Lots of static grass and all sorts of rubbish in there. Same with these ones. We'll give all this a bit of a scoosh. Give it a little bit of a clean out. Refit this wheel, make sure we get it the right way around because that's got the longer thread for the speedometer. This underframe does have a broken brake, but Paul said just to leave that, which I would agree with. It'll never repair successfully, it'll just snap. So get this back into position. That. And we need to pull these wires back through and try and get the pickups back in position. These sorts of pickups on these Hornby models are some of the most fiddly things you'll deal with in model railways. Oh, come on, that's not coming through now. Why is it stuck? Put that back down on there. Tape across there to hold those wires in place. That rod back on. Right, that's all looking a bit more respectable. What am I doing? I'll pop that back in. I'm going to abandon fitting these brake rods because there's little plugs missing down one side, and we're missing a brake here anyway, and part of the front is broken off, so they're not going to fit on very securely, so I think we'll just leave them out. What else have we got? So we've got the speedometer, we've got the smoke deflectors, and this rod. Let's fit this rod to the body. That'll fit on like that. I'll get a wee spot of super glue. So that fits on there like that. I'm not sure how these fitted on originally. There doesn't seem to be any little holes in the locomotive for these to plug into, but there is 4 little prongs. Right, okay, I've kind of changed my mind about this. Because there's glue mess already, it's not going to do any harm to add to it, I don't think. I think we'll glue these on with some epoxy and they'll be a bit more secure. The black tack would work, but I've just kind of changed my mind about it. So we'll mix some epoxy up. Metal epoxy, wonderful stuff. So just a blob of epoxy on each of those anchoring points. Just try to get these in the right position has proven difficult. Right, okay. So I've epoxied them on. I'll let it set and I'll go and get some lunch. Okay then, that was lunch. Right, we're going to fit this speedometer. Shift my tea so it doesn't get spilt. We glue it onto here and then we fix it to that crank pin there. The smoke deflector seemed to have glued on okay. The glue won't be absolutely set yet, but I think that'll be okay. Certainly more secure than black tack, but anyway, right, let's get glasses on and we'll see how this fits in. So this speedometer, this metal piece here, I think fits into that wee slot there. There we go, it's glued on. We'll let that glue harden and then we'll fit the body. I was able to tighten up the screw in this tender, but the front is still loose. The clip's just given up. A wee bit of black tack is called for there. That'll do that. So one of the front steps is broken on the locomotive. We'll leave it just now. We'll see if that interferes with the front bogie at all. If it does, we'll maybe just break it off. But let's see if we can get this body on and get the speedo connected up, and then get this on the layout. And let's see if this mounting screw works okay. So now try to connect up this speedometer through. Get it started. Right, okay. I might have a fiddle with these wires yet, but otherwise I think we're done. Let's go and pull this out the shed. Okay then, let's bring out Flying Scotsman. So there we are, that's Paul's Flying Scotsman back together and running fine. I was not expecting to have all that trouble with the plug to the tender. That was a bit of a carry on, to be honest. Took me a lot longer to get this repaired than it would normally have done because of that. Without the plug issue, I think this would have been a simple single video repair request, but it's all part of the fun. Always expect the unexpected. But yeah, the model wasn't in the best condition, and that's what happens to these fragile, fiddly models when they get mishandled by little fingers or dropped or otherwise roughly treated. They're anything but robust, as is the case with most modernish models, as we all know. A wee additional issue I had with this off camera was the front bogie. I seem to have been plagued with front bogie problems lately. The bogie was derailing on curves and points, and on close inspection I saw that the front of the bogie was hitting the little plate that drops down from the rear of the buffer beam. I removed the two metal detail parts that were screwed to it, and that resolved it. Not the first time I've had tolerance issues with the front bogie, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So yeah, this model was maybe just a couple more issues away from the scrap box, to be honest, but I've got it back together and running, so job done for now. A new underframe and maybe a new body, and this would be as good as new. A few people have pointed out that this model isn't exactly prototypical, but well, these things don't really bother me much. Still a nice model to have in your fleet, so I will get it packed up very carefully and sent back to Paul. Catch us later, folks.